Being a mom has taught me that life is really very unpredictable.
Going on to the next question, because now people might think that our story seems like so flowery, right? Hey, we have struggles too, okay? So what was the biggest struggle for you in the journey of running this business? And what did you do to support yourself through this struggle?
I think the biggest struggle will be to manage the children and cope with the workload. Because when I started the business, we are very manual. Like we do stuff from cleaning the fish all the way to making our seasoning powder. So we are very focused on building stuff from scratch basically. And sometimes it takes hours. My business started picking up and there was more workload, but I didn't have help in time in terms of like hiring someone. So what I did was, like after my kid fell asleep, I only had my elder one at that point in time. So when my daughter fell asleep, I quickly put her into the car and then I drove to my shop. And then I put her to sleep in the pram and then I started working at the shop till probably about 4 to 5 a.m. And then I drove her back home again and then to put her in the bed. So to her it felt like, it's just another normal night's sleep. That was the hardest part of my business and the most, I think, the part that I struggled the most. Oh, and my husband wasn't around at that point in time. He was out for training. I think he was overseas or something. I can't remember. Yeah. So I really didn't have help and that was my greatest struggle.
But sometimes it's worth the struggle when you see the efforts later, because I think every business comes with sacrifices.
Yes,
right?
it's really worth it. And if I didn't have that story, I wouldn't have a story to tell today, right? So
many moms out there are also probably juggling with that kind of time management.
Yes,
I think the kids and that, and they know that somebody else who's successful is also having those kind of difficult times before. So
yes, it's true.
What about you, Carol?
The biggest struggle is having this fear going through my mind all the time during the initial stage. I was wondering, I was afraid that I wouldn't be a good mother if I spend a bit too much time on building the work. Then I was afraid that my kids aren't fed on time, because as I mentioned, I was a bit of a control freak, so I run everything around clockwork. So I have a lot of self-blame as well. This time I missed like the past 30 minutes because I was fiddling with something else, with something to do with the kids. So that fear. And then, in fact, there was a period of time that I was having this narrative in my head. Oh, what if they're not here? Maybe I have more time for this. Maybe I have more things. So, this fear, also this intense fear of failure. If I were to do this, because I didn't have the time, then I would definitely fear. Then if I fear, then what am I going to do next? And I invested so much time, effort, money into the business. And so that fear really drove me. That was my huge challenge of trying to overcome the internal conversation that I have in my head. And to the extent that it took a conversation that I have with a mom, a fellow mom. I say, how do you balance? And then she's like, girl, there's no balance, you choose.
Yeah, there's no balance.
There's no balance, you choose. So that I decided, okay, if that's the case, if I choose my business first, then that means something has to give.
Yes.
Something has to give. Time away from the family. Then if I choose family, then okay, the business process is going to be very, very slow. And I have to be fine with that. I'm not competing with anybody else. It's just having to run the race on my own.
Absolutely, you're not competing. It's just what makes you happy. Going back to the why of why you started this business.
Because of our children.
And then in the end, we're trying to achieve these goals, and then we abandon the
makes sense.
Started business. So in my case, I think, which is also I think quite common, is basically drawing the line of emotions that you carry home with you. Because sometimes when you're at work and things don't work out, say you lose a business, a customer was rude. So all this emotional turmoil, it builds up in you because you're also pouring passion in your business. But without realizing it, sometimes the easiest outlet to actually vent out your anger is through your children, and that is something I did very wrong in the beginning of my business. And especially when kids are young, they're just naturally clingy. They see you, they're a bit needy, and you think that they should give you some space, and that mentality is not correct. So at some point I realized and I learned how to distinguish my emotions. And basically what happens at work, no matter the disappointment and failures, they don't belong in my home. My children still deserve to see me as a happy person, because the relationship between my children and me is exclusive to my job. My job is a role that my children don't even know. For a long time, my kids don't even know I'm a CEO. And I start having all these awards and books, and I normally hide all my awards as well. And my kids found me, Dad was on TEDx, we saw you there. And I was like, oh really? And that's when, I think when the eldest was 10, he realized that, oh, my mom was actually doing more than just normal work. But so because a lot of times I don't want them to know that I'm somebody out there chasing big dreams, because they don't have to know that yet. They just need to know I'm their mother. When I walk through the doors, how's your day? What did you eat today? Do you want to tell me how's your day? You know, I'm not going to tell them anything about what happens at work, because it's not for them to listen at this time. So once I start drawing the line, I just, no matter how upset I get at work, I was never upset with my children, because they're not related. And it makes me happier, because even if you feel shitty at work, at home you're like the goddess, okay? Your kids are like, oh, my mom is the best, my best. So you feel good again about yourself. And then tomorrow you can fight another day in the office. So that's what I think we should learn from.
Yeah.
Okay, next question, going to advice, because after all that we shared our struggles or experience. How about you, Stephanie? What's your advice, okay, for other moms who are considering to start a business?
Advice will be very cliche. I think it will be just do it, really. I mean, like, no matter what happens, you know, like being a mom, it's a lot of things are like unpredictable. Like you don't know when your kids will fall sick. I think this is the most crucial part. Like you always think that when you put them to sleep, they may be okay, but in the middle of the night, they suddenly come out with a high fever, like, what? And then tomorrow I need to be in the office to do this and that. So I think a lot of times, being a mom has taught me that life is really very unpredictable. And yeah, you can never plan well enough for something to happen or not to happen. So I think really will be, if you have an idea in mind, just try it out, just do it. If you're worried about it, like, you know, like if you have a job already and you don't know if your business or your business idea will work out, you can always do it like, you know, half and then start slowly transitioning it so that it replaces the income that you have on the main side. And yeah, that's how I did it actually. Yeah.
Well, I would say that I share one of the best advice I've been given. It's like find your tribe. It's find other like-minded moms, you know, to really to support you through that. Because when I first started out, I felt really, really alone. I didn't know what to do. It's like the school system never taught you how to start your own business, right? So it's like, you know, you study this so that you can get a good job, you earn lots of money, so your life will be set.
Yes.
That was my whole mentality. And then suddenly, okay, so to the very basic, you know, about handling money, I have no idea how to get that sorted at all, or administrative work, right? So when I started out, I wish I had something that you have created for me, you know, to teach me how to do so. And also, there's a lot of naysayers, right? Sometimes it's like, my husband did say a few things to me. It's just that I don't think he meant it negatively. He was like, what is it that you want to spend yourself, you know, all this energy, and then you get frustrated, you cry, you know, just so that you can build something on your own.
Yeah.
Like, isn't, you know, being with the kids and being with me, I earn enough, it's okay, you don't have to go out and struggle. Yeah. It was nice, but at the same time, I want to be my own person. So, you know, I have all this struggle, and I realized that there are other women who are like that as well. So I realized that by having to join a tribe of women who are in the same situation, I don't feel alone, because I have people telling me as well, you know, all the naysayers from family, well-meaning relatives, why you want to do a business? It's so difficult. Just get a maid, go back to the corporate world, you want to earn money, then you have all the money every month, you sit there, whether you work or not, you work hard or not, you still get paid. Yeah, but then it's different. It's really different. Yeah, so being in a tribe would be, you know, the best advice. That was the best advice I was given, and that's what I want to share with the rest of the moms.
And your vibe attracts your tribe as well, right? If you're positive and go-getter, you get that kind of same person. And I think we feed off energy of each other. So if you go with people who are very driven, you generally will realize, oh, I'm actually also growing to greater heights because of the influence. The 5 people around you, the closest to you, are your major influence. So I think it's really important because you cannot be successful alone. And there are days you are demotivated, so a helping hand, seeing somebody and get inspired again, I think that's essential for us to keep going. So in my case, the advice I would say to the women out there is be bold and courageous, because often when I talk to women and the first thing they say is always an excuse. And you tell them that, oh Lisa, I want to start a business like you, but and I'm like, let me guess, but you have children. Okay, and I'm like, but I also have children. So when people give them a lot of excuse, it's because they obviously convince themselves that they're obviously not good enough. So they will say, but what if I fail? And I look at them and say, what if you didn't? What if I couldn't even make 1,000 a month? And I go, what if you made 10,000 a month? So, but you won't know, right? Because I don't know, you don't try. And I share my personal story and I say, I'm a school dropout. I dropped out of JC. I became a stay-home mom. I do not have a degree. I have no travel experiences, no business network. I start from nothing when I was 27. Okay, and if I could get to where I am, you never know who you will meet who will help you. You never know which customer is going to support you. You don't know because you don't try. And maybe you fail the first time, but who knows, you'll make it the second time. And when people look at the journey, people are like, okay, Lisa made it only because she tried, and that's why people will do it. And the road might take them further than they imagine. So I always tell people that the past is certain. Okay, you can take your past lessons with you, but you don't live there anymore. The question is, what can you take from the past to craft your future? And that is yours to still dictate today. And you don't have to think about, 10 years, what will I be a CEO in 10 years? Because when I started as a stay-home mom, starting my business, I was only selling hair clips when I was 27. What tech company? What tech? I don't know. Okay, so I was just making ribbons and I post on Facebook. And that's how I made 100,000 my first year. The investors came and it changed the game for me. But that happened from a hair clip, okay, for $5. So I'm telling people your idea can be simple, but still you don't know where it takes you. So you don't have to make something complicated. You don't have to think of something difficult that needs high qualification. Think about what you love to do, that you never get sick of, that is relevant in your current circle, that will bring you the network of people you want to be associated with, and focus on your own journey. And you realize that you will be living by design, and that is the job you love. And someone else may earn 10K, you may earn 3K, but you're far happier because you're doing something you love, and that is important. Which of your products would you recommend to moms?
I would definitely recommend this product that I created. I'm very proud of it because I actually researched it from scratch. We actually made instant porridge using our own methods basically secret. So what you do is you just, let's say you are traveling, right? Or if you're going for a day trip to the zoo or bird park or whatever, all you need is just a thermal flask, and then you put the dry porridge in, then you top it up with boiling water, cover it for 15 minutes, and then you have a meal. I would recommend that for parents. And if you are, sometimes we work late and all that, and when we come home without any dinner plans and we have not prepared any ingredients for our children's meals, we can always heat up the porridge, and it only takes 10 minutes over the stove. And people call us lifesavers, so yeah, I guess it works. Yeah, so I think I would recommend that to parents.
I would say self-love, self-care kind of a product. Okay, because moms, we wear different hats, we play different roles. So for the entrepreneurial moms, it would be more marketing, self-care, marketing in terms of putting their best face forward, being able to stand out from the competition as well. So setting an image that is incongruent to your own personal brand, your backstory, so to be able to connect with your audience and your customers. But for the other moms, it's about showing who you are. And image To a lot of people, they might think that, hey, it's quite superficial. Why do I need to wear makeup? Why do I want to dress better? But it is about changing that mindset, knowing that as a woman, you can look 100% when you choose to. And that is building that confidence that every day you get up, what you're fighting for your family, for yourself, and then you're able to face the world 100%. Yeah, that would be my product.
Yeah, I believe that, because I wanted to say that for my case, right, the product that I would recommend for people to consume from Spendless Cosmetics is at least a lipstick, because there is power in lipstick. Because when you feel that no one notice you and you put this on, it gives you some sort of identity, and you realize that I could dress up and be a different person. I could do more with my new personality, like you said, my new image branding, and that will attract me opportunities. And sometimes I realize that even I work at home, right, and I dress up and my home office is 3 steps from my master bedroom, and I'm picking my clothes, and I'm going to do my hair, and I'm going to do my makeup a little bit. Maybe later I go live, maybe I do some videos, but even if I don't, I get busy on email. Just to be able to look good makes you feel so powerful. And you're like, I'm on email, I'm taking a customer's call. Oh, it's a productive day. My kids come home from school and say, Mom, how's your day? Excellent, it's been great. And you top up your lipstick, you spray some mist spray. So I think that, when women want to build their confidence and work on their branding and how they look like, it's about feeling good. I think I would recommend you get a lipstick. That's the start, Spendless Cosmetic, and then your life changed. What are you most grateful for in your entrepreneurship journey?
I think I'm most grateful for the people around me, like my family especially. Like on days when I'm especially busy and I tend to worry about the kids a lot. So I'm really grateful that they are there, to be my kampong and to help me to look after the kids. And sometimes my parents help to, like ferry them around. And then my in-laws are not so mobile, but we still can, park the kids there at like for 1 or 2 hours, and they can still help out. So I think all these little actions really do help in giving me a peace of mind while I'm working on my big dreams, Yes.
Having that support structure, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's important. But it's not fixed. So it's kind of like when things crop out and then you start calling everybody and then see what can be done.
No, definitely. How about you, Carol?
I'm most grateful for my tribe. Really, end of the day. I'm part of this women community called Women of Courage Asia, and we have a little bit of a sisterhood going on as well. So they are like my sounding board. Sometimes I feel lost, sometimes I feel that I'm losing faith. And I know that I can go to them with questions, and then even just to complain. I need to unload. So that without any judgment, which is something that I can feel very comfortable about. Sometimes we have issues. Not that I have issues with my husband, but I just want something. I want to have someone who can feel what I'm feeling right now.
Frustrations.
Yeah. So I'm also grateful for my mentors and coaches as well. That they can be my sounding board and also be my guide. Yeah. So that's the most important. That's also my inspiration. They are my inspiration to actually to want to do what I'm doing every day, to go out and help and serve other women.
Exactly. I'm along the same line as you guys. I would just say that basically the thing I'm grateful for is people who believed in me. Yeah. Because these are the people who take you forward and propel you. Because the people, of course, there will always be a small community of people who don't believe in you, who don't support your business. But because there's more people who actually believe in you, you move on. You don't care. You kind of ignore those people, and then you move on. And these people could be, your fellow close friends and family members, your tribe that you mentioned earlier. In my case as well, when I started growing a business, obviously investors came to the door, and I'm like, I'm not going to take your money. I don't even know what to do with it. No, we know you can do something with it. We believe you. And I'm like, how is it possible that people, strangers, can tell you that they believe in you first more than you believe in yourself to take their funds? Yeah. And with that, I just, use your capital, and that's when I grow a business and I look back, and I'm happy that, for example, the investors in this case, they never question how you're going to do work because you're a mother of 3. Nobody questioned your role as a mother. Here's $500,000, okay? Run along with it and tell us the report end of the year. All the best. But nobody questions that role anymore because people deeply believe in you. And of course, having a supporting spouse would be amazing. So my current husband at the moment, you know, he's the place where you rant, you cry, you get upset. You know, you rant about him to him as well sometimes. You rant about people to him, you rant about him to him. Okay, so
you
will always never do this, you know. But in the end, your husband knows so much about what you're going through, and that's the thing. Being vulnerable, if you have to, is with the person you live most of the time with, because if anything happens to you and your husband take over your role temporarily, he makes decision not because what he thinks is best for him. He thinks what is best you would do. He would think about what you would do because you've given him a chance to know you not just on the highlights but also on the low ground, because they would be the person to step in every time you are not available for the role in your business. And my husband, like every time I said, I'm gonna quit again, very common, right? That's it, I hate my job, I'm gonna quit. Why? I'm your biggest fan. I need you to continue, I'm your biggest fan. And that's when you realize that even if 95%, 99% of the world don't believe in you, at least you have one person who does, and that is enough, okay, for you to still, okay, I'm still gonna chase my dream on the next step. So that's what I'm grateful for.
Yeah. Sorry if I may just rock the boat a little bit, okay? Because you mentioned husband, right? And I've heard and observed so many women who I've spoken to, when you want to start a business, the husbands are actually her biggest
barrier.
Right?
Yeah, barricade. Yeah.
You know, and then it's like, you know, the no's, and then also the what is, giving them all this self-doubt and all. So, you know, while we are very lucky, we have all the supports for our respective spouse, but there are also other women, you know, who may not have that. So what can they do?
Okay, actually, I was there. That was the first marriage because when I got married, I was only 20, remember? So I had no degree, no education, no career. And basically, he thinks I will amount to nothing. So whenever I start a business or have some ideas, he says, you're not going to make it, right? And I always want to say to these people that, you know, sometimes, yes, if you try to pin your wife down, she may stay down. But at some point when she decided not to, she's going on without you. I was just saying. Yeah, when she gets stronger, she will realize that I will not settle for less. And that was what happened. You know, when I start my business, regardless, for 4 years, no support, people were telling you you're not good enough. At some point, you got bigger because the company grows, right? With passion, it grows over time. Maybe not overnight, but 4 years, it will grow bigger. And when it does, you realize that your tolerance for negative things, for defamation, for setbacks, you just don't tolerate any more crap. And that's when you go like, wow, I'm done. And you leave. And when you leave, you find other pathways. And sometimes I would say that if somebody is holding you back from your own success, which will give your own happiness and the future, better future for your kids, then it's not worth it. You should really think twice.
Yeah. And I'm also glad that what we're doing here today, you know, we are putting a message out there. So whoever is actually watching this, you know, creating new ways for herself, that you don't have to be where you are. You can be anywhere you want to go, anywhere you want to be.